Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Debs, the Paralegal, reacting. Today I am reacting to Brooke Schofield, specifically her stories regarding P. Diddy and just the cancelled podcast referencing P. Diddy, and I'm just noticing just some differences here, which to me is kind of a red flag, especially with everything going on with P. Diddy, and who's to say who all was involved or who wasn't involved. So I'm just paying very close attention. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? And of course I will start off with a disclaimer saying that everything that I say is my opinion, allegedly, and that's it. Just putting that out there. And everything that I'm sharing is public knowledge. Well, some of it is from their Patreon. However, I did research, and Patreon still falls under fair use, provided it's educational, which this is, as I'm a paralegal discussing legal matters. So it does fall under fair use. So I'm going to stop the videos here and there just to give my 2 cents. I do apologize for the setup that I have, or the lack thereof. I will be upgrading and getting better editing program and microphone, the whole 9 yards. But yeah, for now this is what we're working with, and yeah, I think I've yapped a little bit too much already. But first video that we're going to start off with was I want you to pay close attention to Brooke's reaction at the mention of P. Diddy, and how she was triggered, it seemed, by the mention of him, and then she acts like, oh, I don't know anything about it, if that makes sense. But anyways, I just want to make sure it's on 1.5. Okay, yeah, let's do that. I'm just going to mute myself and let's do this.
Can we talk about P. Diddy for a second?
Sure.
The police went and they raided his house, but it's so clear that it is not a silly little raid. Okay, they're not looking for guns. They're not looking for, you know what I mean? Like, and they're raiding all of his houses now, like wherever they all are, and he's fleeing and meeting with sketchy people and hopping on planes and all this fucking shit, right? Shit like that just interests me so much. Like, I go down the rabbit hole, right? And last night I'm on Makoa's phone, and his For You page is all that shit, because his For You page pretty much is just a guy's For You page as is, so it's like already rap shit and whatever, so all he has to do is watch 2 P. Diddy videos for that to be his whole. So I took his phone, I was looking at his For You page, watching all these videos on it, and it is just so the fucking definition of that shit being right under our nose the entire time. The amount of celebrities like Cat Williams and just so many people who have been saying for years, like, P. Diddy is trafficking these children and people, and nobody did anything about it. It is so fucking nuts to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard about it, but I also don't fucking hear about P. Diddy in my day, like in my life.
Look at this TikTok that I need to.
I did go to his house.
Okay, so I don't know if you've noticed, but at the mention of P. Diddy, she's like, sure, and her eye looked very like triggered, which to me does not equate someone that doesn't know about the lore, or I think lore is underselling it, but know about what is going on. And this is actually like an older video. I think it was taken about, I can't remember, say exact. I would say it's about it was several months ago. So this was before his arrest, of course. So it was at this time there was like whispers of an investigation, just as Tana had said. That was just after the raids had happened. And she goes from saying like, I don't hear about him, I don't know anything about it, to then saying, I went to his house, which I find a little bit odd. Red flags are raised for me personally, but anyways, let's carry on.
What? With Isabella, I think. Wait. Yeah, I went with Isabella.
To P. Diddy's house?
Yeah. In Miami.
Any more lore?
No.
Like, just a party, and it just happened to be his house?
There was only a few of us, but
how did you get invited?
I don't remember. I know it was in Miami, and I've only been to Miami 2 times. Once with you, and once with someone else, or with my other friends. Oh wait, maybe it was with my other friends. I don't know. We all went to his house. It's like this like Asian, like Japanese style, like beautiful house.
How, like, and one of your girlfriends just happened to get invited and you went?
Yeah, or it was like, so, like someone we were with was like, let's go to Diddy's house. And I was like, let's go to Diddy's house. And he was there, but nothing happened.
I want you to remember this. So she just said that Diddy was there when she went to his house. So just keep that in mind. So one would think that she, in order to know that he was there, she would have had to have seen him, right? I mean, that's what I think anyways. In order to know that someone was there, she would have had to have seen him, whether in passing or speaking to him or something. Otherwise, how would you know for certain anyways? You could speculate. I don't know if he was there or what, or like, so just keep that part in mind, okay? Because yeah.
Well, I'm really happy nothing happened. That's fucking nuts, bro. Okay, like, look at this.
Hey, John Mercedes, remember Diddy went live with this girl right here?
My name's Ava. I'm a Scorpio.
No. What's your last name?
Ava Combs.
What's your other last
Like her even just starting off, my name's Ava, I'm a Scorpio. Like, that's weird.
Yes, it's breaking news. Diddy adopted a white child. I want you to tell them the story about how I adopted you. You still have
And it's, she just, you watch the whole video, her eyes look so scared. She's like, Diddy took me off the streets. And like all these men are behind her, like laughing. Like, and it's just, it's fucking weird. And then all the comments are saying that she's this girl, Ava Grace Baldwin, who went missing when she was 6 years old.
Oh.
And like, that's what, and then like Orlando Bloom, like from Disney Channel, remember Orlando Bloom?
Of course.
He did an interview like a year ago saying like all these kids go missing and like, then they're showing up in like commercials and they're at Diddy's house and they look just like the missing.
I've actually heard about, I think it was from that girl on TikTok, she's the one that was saying, going off about Tana being a pimp. She was talking about soft trafficking, where it's like people get trafficked to make content against their will. So I don't know, that's insane. But yeah, bear that in mind, that apparently like that's a thing where people get trafficked in order to make content, whether it's OF, whether it's, you know, social media or whatever. So that, I mean, of course that's allegation, I don't know, but just bear that in mind.
Child that's still missing, and
Obviously, like something is really serious about it, but like the way my brain works, I'm like, there's just no way like people really do that.
the way we analyze shit is just so different. Like, I'm like,
Like
no.
I know it's.
This is frustrating to me because unless you haven't been, you know, paying attention to the media, or you're not versed in what human trafficking even is, this is something very real that happens quite a bit. I have my own stories of all nearly escaping it, which maybe I'll talk about later on, but it's a very real thing, and you don't have to be a celebrity to do it. It's probably one of the biggest industries like in the world, to be honest. And Jeffrey Epstein is a big one that came out, so unless you're hiding under a rock, it's not a new idea that this happens. It happens all the time, whether you're it's a celebrity doing it or not. So she claims to be a well-versed person, intelligent person who keeps up with politics and things like that. So I find that odd that this is so like out of her brain, you know, to think that it happens.
It's real, of course. Like it's so real and it's so serious, but like it just blows my mind because I'm like, I can't. It's kind of the same way I feel about like I remember watching like the Turpin documentary and thinking like, how did those two people find each other? Like, how do you find out that like your spouse or whatever it is also interested in doing this like crazy fucking like horrible abusive shit?
I think so much of things like that have to do with
talk about.
Okay, so yeah, that was the previous clip from like months ago, before Diddy was caught, and I didn't really like her whole demeanor towards it. Again, when Tana first brought it up, can we talk about Diddy? She was like, sure. And then she went on to say, I don't hear anything about him in my day-to-day life, which is odd given the reaction. If you didn't know or just anything about him or discuss him, you think it'd be like a little bit more nonchalant, like, okay, yeah, sure, I don't know shit about him. And then she made the comment like that, then went on to say that she went to his home and was very weird to talk about, but she said that she saw Diddy there, that nothing weird happened. So I don't know. I find that very odd. I mean, some might argue that she had signed an NDA. However, what most people don't know is that NDAs are really just like a way of trying to scare people into not saying anything. But if, for example, you've witnessed or seen a crime, then the NDA doesn't count. But of course, I guess safety could be another thing. But anyways, just something that I noticed, and yeah, we can carry on with the second portion of the video.
Diddy and the baby oil. We are going to on Canceled after this. It's fucking
I
nuts.
don't know what that is.
Oh, you're about to find out. Don't you worry.
Notice just like her demeanor, like, I don't know what that is. She posts very frequently on TikTok, such that even after her, you know, her cancellation, that she never stopped posting. She comments quite a bit on other people's things. She's on TikTok quite a bit, and so I'm very, you know, I don't know how it's possible that she doesn't know about that. Everyone, that's the biggest thing everyone seems to talk about. So, anyways, let's carry on.
Because I want to see it. What are your take on the Diddy stories? I'm also going to podcast about that because I think that it's like so public, pop culture. Like I want to podcast about it, not live stream about it. But I mean, that shit is fucking nuts. You don't know a lot about it, right? So I'm gonna like.
I'm kind of hearing about it. I got in trouble because remember that one time I was like, yeah, I went to Diddy's house.
Yeah, just never say that again.
Yeah.
No,
he wasn't there, or I didn't see him. I don't think.
Did you see anything weird?
Mm-mm.
Well, the internet is.
Okay, so now the story has changed. Remember how previously when she talked about it, she said that he was there, nothing weird happened? Now the story has changed. He wasn't there. Which I find interesting. So why switch up like that? So I definitely think she's hiding something, even just her stiffening up at the mention of his name. Like, there has to be more there. I don't know. And why did your story change? Because it really, the reason why people were probably asking questions or like weirded out by it is just, what did you see? Like, what happened or whatever? Like, it would not even have anything to do with him or not. So I don't know. But just the fact that the story changed makes me think that there's more to it, if that makes sense. But anyways.
The internet.
Someone said make BB sing at one of the shows.
I would love to. I'm trying to kidnap BB. I've been like scheming behind your
I
back.
have been. I said there's an empty. Wait, you want to steal her from me?
No, like I want to steal her on tour.
Well, we have an empty bunk now. I told her she's getting it.
I want to so bad. I think Amari's joining us too. I don't know.
Oh, fine. But Amari can sleep in your room.
Yeah.
Also, BB can sleep in my bunk.
Honestly, yeah. We bring everyone. When is the documentary coming out? Do you mean on Diddy or our tour documentary?
Oh.
So that's an interesting joke. They've been making a documentary for quite some time, or since their last tour, perhaps even their first tour. They have been recording like behind the scenes, whatever, allegedly making a tour documentary, which has never been released yet. And I think I'm going to make a second video about it, but I have a feeling that this runs deeper, especially with the allegations against Tana regarding Tana's angels and now this Diddy stuff. I'm just sensing there's more to this than meets the eye for sure, especially with this documentary stuff, especially how Zach saying also there was discussion with him about a documentary. So this documentary that's happening, I think there's more to it, and I don't know. I'm gonna make a second video about that because I think there's more to it. But anyways, just notice how Brooke just like tenses up at the mention of Diddy, and look at Tana's face and her reaction, or even lack thereof.
Yeah. It's funny because we filmed all of our tours, all of them. We have terabytes and terabytes of footage. And now I'm getting to the point where I'm like, fuck, like, what do we do with it? Like, a part of me is like, because I know we released a BTS episode on Patreon, but like, imagine we released a bunch of episodes on something instead of like, I don't know.
I think we should, because right now there's not really like a clear vision.
Yeah, there's not a climax. That's the thing. I think that with all like documentaries and shooting it, you kind of have to think about like the story arc and the climax and whatnot. But we've just been filming, so we'll see.
I want to watch The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
So bad.
With Justin Bieber. And
But yeah, I think, yeah, I'll make a follow-up video about this documentary and how I think there's more to it than that, and how she had actually just mentioned multi-part series, which is actually what she had mentioned to, I think, Zach sang in passing. So I think that there's more to this documentary, and especially with how Zach Sang had mentioned about documentary relating to Clinton Kane, and now mentioning again of a documentary. I just think that, I don't know, but I'll save that for another video. Let's carry on.
they're like, how old is he? She's like 16. I'm like, oh shit.
Oh, Kim.
Okay.
But and like, yeah, like
Courtney's the one who has
even
the
with
kid.
all this Diddy stuff, I'm seeing a lot of stuff. But like, and as a believer, I've been like on the edge of my seat waiting for this to really like come to the public light, because I really thought when he released like "Lonely," like that song, those lyrics, that video, his performances of that, several other songs, but that one like specifically, that it, and like the Yummy video, all of the Easter eggs in that, how it like people say that it's a play on Hollywood kind of feasting on young people, whatever. I thought it would all come to light then, and like it didn't, and now it's all finally coming to light, like how horrible Justin Bieber was treated, by every celebrity too, like just the sexualization of him by like women and celebrities, just everything. It's fucking nuts. Like,
Yeah, he had it
been so
tough,
much.
but I'm glad he's doing better. The baby was born.
Yeah, I feel like he'll do everything in his power, I think, to protect that kid from.
Yeah, I rewatched that Yummy video, or just that Lonely song, just very sad. But again, I don't want to speculate too much because we don't know. But now, looking at with the lens of what we have now about Diddy, it's difficult not to assume the worst. But again, it's good not to speculate. But notice how she tries to, or Brooke tries to change the subject. This is obviously not a subject she wants to talk about. Granted, she tends to be trying to be brand safe all the time, but at this point, there's nothing brand safe about her to save. So it's interesting how she just is quick to want to change the subject.
Everything he went through, which I think is in turn a beautiful thing and all you can do with trauma. But
Yeah, remember how protective he was over Billy? He would like cry over it. That's so sweet.
because he probably saw so much of himself in his rise to fame in her, and just I can't imagine how emotional that is. I would say even I like genuinely feel a protective attachment to like these younger TikTok stars who are like, you raised me and like whatever, you know, like it's like I hope they don't have to go through like shit I went through. You know?
Yeah.
I hope it's ever changing, and that's just like 1/1000th of obviously.
I think we're headed in the right direction at least.
Yeah. I want to talk about the Diddy shit, but I feel like everyone's just kind of beating it into the ground. It is fucking nuts.
It's so crazy. I just like, I don't know. It's hard. Like, I'm like, Sarah Jessica Parker is in the photos. Like, I'm like, I don't know if I understand what is going on here.
That I was saying this when we shot, but I genuinely do.
So yeah, so she plays once again dumb. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, everyone's talking about it. Everywhere you look, it's everywhere you can see, especially on TikTok, the news, everywhere. It's been an allegation for quite some time. Like, again, you saw it like about, I don't know how many months ago, but the original one, they discussed it then, or at least referred to the allegations. So I'm just not getting how she's playing so stupid, quite frankly.
Think this is going to take down like a fourth of Hollywood. Like, I think everyone was involved. Everyone knew something. Cat Williams has said it forever. Like, Charlemagne has said it forever. Like, of don't go to Diddy parties. Like, it's all been. That's what's crazy is there's never been a case like this. I was just watching Diddy on a talk show in like 2005 where he's.
And oddly enough, as we recall, Brooke has admittedly been to a Diddy party, and you think she would have something to add, or I don't know. I mean, she has firsthand knowledge of what that experience was like, and notice her body language, how she fidgets with her thumbs. It's just, I don't know, something is off. She's biting her tongue or something like that. There's something going on there.
telling the talk show host, I don't remember who it was, but he's telling the talk show host, like, yeah, I put locks on all the outside of my doors at my parties, and I make my parties really hot so that the girls get more drunk and they stay, and like yada yada. Like it's like the definition of hiding in plain sight, and that like the power trip of it all.
Yeah,
like,
but maybe it goes along with what we were just saying, where it's like things like that were like okay then, not okay, but like. It's a way different culture now, and like we are way more cognizant of things like that now. Whereas before, it was like people just got away with saying a lot more. But I think
Why is she kind of almost like excusing for him to say that, or for that kind of stuff to happen? It was just like a different time. No, it doesn't matter what time it was. It was back then. People just had less of balls to stand up against him or speak out. It took Cassie being the first to have the guts to do so for other people to feel comfortable enough to do it, because there was strength in numbers. So I mean, I just find that comment in itself very disgraceful and distasteful. It was a different time. So is it ever appropriate for a man to say that at a party he locks the doors? And that's never appropriate. It's not that at that time it was socially accepted. It shouldn't be. And I don't know, I just really didn't like that comment.
That, and obviously as well, like maybe with like rap culture, a lot of the things he would just say about like having sex with women and stuff like that, obviously people are just like, well, he's like being a rapper and fucking bitches, right? But it's so not, and the charges are so not, and it's just fucking nuts, and so many people have been saying it. It's crazy. I keep seeing everyone talk about the 1,000 bottles of baby oil, right? And obviously I think all of that shit is insane. Like having thousands of IV bags because all the people participating in your freak offs are going to be days of dehydration, and they seized so many drugs. So it's like, you're flying in all of these sex workers across state lines, across all these things, feeding them drugs, making them do things that they don't want to do with your power. And this is all like confirmed. This is all is all in the indictment. And then they seize your house and find like thousands of sex toys, thousands of bottles of baby oil, like thousands of IV. Like that doesn't look good. And it's all on tape. And like those tapes were being used as like a power play. Like he was saying like to every celebrity, like, oh, you're not going to fucking expose me. I have this video of you doing X, Y, and Z. But then now that's what's fucking him. That's what's going to put him in jail for life, is the fact that he recorded all of it, you know? But
oh, that's so crazy. I saw that something.
Which is totally true. It's like that, which happens quite often when psychopath records their crimes. It's whether they want to watch it back and relive it, or you just use it against the person, it actually will be the thing that in the end is the evidence of what you did. So yeah, not so smart.
Where he was like refusing to eat jail food because he's afraid someone's going to poison him. But I'm like, if you're not guilty, you're not afraid of someone poisoning you. Like, oh, someone's only going to poison you to protect themselves. You know what I mean? From getting, you know, exposed or whatever it is. Like you said, it was like literally hidden in plain sight. Like Eminem says, like the day Diddy admits that he put out the hit that got Pac killed.
And the like, what's the other Eminem lyric where he's like, he spells rapper without like the other P, and then he says like P Diddy and like all this stuff, and like it's a little nuts. I mean, it's all been in like fucking plain sight. And to deny a $50 million bail, like he put it up. He said, here's my $48 million house, here's my $2 million house.
I think they could do that. Like,
yeah, because if they think you're going to tamper with evidence, or you're just a societal harm,
then I feel like shouldn't they have just not set bail? I guess. You know, I just recently understood bail. Like, you know that when you get that money back after you're like after you go to court,
if you're not guilty,
after it goes to trial or whatever,
or if you're guilty. Here we go again.
Listen, I don't know. Yeah, you know what? Forget
one Google search away. Open that new tab and educate yourself.
I always used to think like it was so crazy.
That is a valid question. I wonder if that's true, because I have heard here where like you put the bail up, but then so long as you play by the rules or whatever, then it's fine. I believe. I think so, because I mean, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I think it's separate. Like for, say, if you were to be guilty and you get some kind of fine. I don't know, I could be wrong, but I don't know how it is in the States. But yeah, that's a very valid question.
That people were able to put up like $1 million bail, but then someone told me that like once it goes to court, like you get that back, or like once there's a verdict, you get it back.
That's interesting. I didn't know
that either, and it's honestly probably not true.
But back to the baby oil. Now there's all these conspiracy theories, because have you ever seen GHB?
Yeah.
Have you ever done GHB?
Not on purpose.
Very fair.
I only know about it because of that LA promoter who got in trouble for it. Do you remember that? And it was like a whole thing. There were like text threads like saying like, yeah, we gave him G or whatever they were calling it, and then the girl died in her sleep.
A lot of people, because you can't mix it with alcohol, and ironically it's the roofie drug.
They literally gave it to her, left her at home, and then it was like a promoter that like we used to see out all the time. And now he's just roaming the streets, running free.
It is so common and sad. It's crazy how many parties I've gone to, or artists I know, or people who do it recreationally, or people who like choose to do it and like
pass it out. Aren't you?
It's like Rufalin, essentially, right?
Yeah,
It's like
it is Rufalin. Yeah, but it's like an oil, essentially, right?
so you can just like drip.
So people are saying, was he raiding the diaper aisle, or were those filled with GHB?
Well, I mean, I guess that's an easy check.
Anyway, yeah, I guess that's true. I don't know. I'm done. I really am just like, yeah, maybe we get to a more hooty topic than P. Diddy. I guess it is fucking nuts. Like it's
horrible, and I hope that he honestly goes away forever. I hope to God that nobody kills him in prison, because I feel like that is a bummer. I want him to suffer for his whole life.
Yeah, there's just so many victims, and watching all the victims come forward, it's just like so fucking sad and it's crazy. And I
Okay, well, yeah, I guess that's what I have for now, but I find it very interesting how towards the end, how she kind of changed her tune. I hope he goes away for his whole life. I hope they don't get... It just, I don't know. And her eyes were looking up, like almost like she wanted to roll her eyes, which her demeanor kind of changed before, being like, oh, well, it was like a different time, to being like, I hope he goes away for his whole life. I don't know, there's something, I don't know, there's something weird there. Like, why did her story change? Why was she almost like, saying like, oh, it was like a different time, da da da. I don't know. So if one were to argue that perhaps like she had seen something or was a victim of something, it wouldn't necessarily equate to the story changing, or the trying to almost be like, like it was a different time, kind of almost being like apologetic, or just it just wouldn't make sense to react in that manner. So I'm just wondering what is going on there. Why did the story change? Why is she acting so weird about it? Why is she almost kind of like defending him? She did at the end toward of like the very last video, kind of like, I hope he died, but her eyes were almost like rolling, and it's almost like she said it because she knew that that's what you're supposed to say, because I know she like checks the Reddit and things like that, or just, of course, that is the normal reaction to be not on Team Diddy or against Diddy. So I'm just wondering why the flip-flopping, because I know that she tends to like to go with the grain, so for her to almost be like, well, it was a different time, is in itself going against the grain, because the general consensus is fuck Diddy, you know what I mean? So that kind of is weirding me out. It's all kind of weirding me out. Why the change in story? Why the kind of almost like almost kind of like, well, it was different time, da, da, da. Just I don't know how to explain it, but there's just something weird there. Something's not adding up, and it's just the reaction I find is just not. She's changed her story. First it was he was there, then it was he wasn't there. Nothing weird happened. So if nothing weird happened, why are you acting so weird about talking about it? I don't know. There's just something off there for me. Maybe I'm just reaching, but just her reaction to it, or lack thereof, is just kind of very telling, like the changing of the story. And I don't know, allegedly Tana's her best friend, so if there was something bad that happened, you would think that she would tell her and be like, hey, don't talk about it, it's triggering, or whatever the case may be. So I don't know, but definitely the story changed, which is a red flag, and I want to delve deeper in that, and I am going to make a follow-up video about this documentary and how I think that, I don't know, there's definitely more to the story, or just based off of this little situation alone, I do think that there's something being swept under the rug here. Just, it's very telling, just the change in story, for one. But yeah, I don't know. I'll save all of that part for the next video, otherwise it'll be way too long. But what do you think? Am I reaching here, or do you think that there's more to it, or do you just think that she changed the story so that people would leave her alone, or I don't know. What do you think? Do you notice anything weird about that? For me also is the body language and the facial expressions. I don't know if you can really notice it because the quality is probably not that great, but perhaps I can try to link it down below. Let me know if you'd like me to get a better view for the body language, and because that's a big tell, I find. But yeah.